Why you should absolutely always negotiate your salary and compensation whenever you get a new job offer. Listen, I get it. People get scared to negotiate. You're not comfortable with negotiating. You're just excited you got the job. You're afraid they're going to rescind the offer. In this video, we're going to talk about why you should absolutely always negotiate your job offers, especially if you are a woman. All right, ladies, we're going to get into this and talk about why you should always negotiate. And I'll give you a couple of resources on how you can and some things that you should negotiate other than salary as well. All right, let's get into it. Y'all, before we get into the details of this video that I am very excited to get to, I do want to introduce myself. My name is Labria Jones, and I am an advocate for life-work balance. I am all about sharing resources and tips and information that help you get more flexibility in your life so that you can travel, work, and live life to the fullest. I have a free guide called The Ultimate Guide to Remote Work. I have a course that teaches people how to go through the 4 phases of finding and landing remote work. I have a private coaching community that I meet with on a weekly basis to share tips and information on how they can work remotely. As well, I host an annual conference all around remote work for job seekers. And on Instagram and here on YouTube, I share a whole lot of information about working remotely, traveling, and all kinds of fun stuff. I rushed through that. All of the resources that I just shared are in the description box below. And I rushed through that on purpose because I'm excited to get to this conversation. I'm pretty passionate about making sure that women get paid well. So let's talk about why you should absolutely, always, 100% negotiate your salary and compensation. Okay? Let's do it. Okay, so I am talking to everybody, but I am really especially talking to the ladies out there. I want us to do a better job of negotiating our salaries. And I'm actually recording this video for Black Women's Equal Pay Day. All right, so I'm recording this video with a purpose. I want everyone, especially women, and especially Black women, and especially women of color, to be comfortable and confident negotiating, right? And a lot of times what I hear from people who say they don't negotiate their salary, what I hear is fear. I hear a whole lot of fear and a whole lot of just misunderstanding of what the process is like. And so I wanted to take the time to kind of break down why you should do this, why you should absolutely negotiate, okay? And I'll share another video on how you can negotiate. And quite frankly, there is a whole module in my course that talks you through negotiating, the things that you can negotiate, how you should negotiate. And we've done a masterclass in my Quit Commuting Academy on this topic as well. But today I'm going to give you 4 reasons why you should negotiate your salary. Reason number 1, I think we should all focus on what we can control and do our part in bridging the gap in pay equity. The truth is, the gap in pay between men and women is not our fault. This is a problem that has been persistent throughout history, right? And we are now making strides or pushing to change that and bring awareness to it. But I will say one of the principles that I try to live by is focusing on what I can control. So what can I do to help bridge the pay gap? And quite frankly, in some cases, the fact that we don't negotiate our salaries exacerbates the problem. What do I mean by the pay gap? But what I mean by the pay gap is, on average, women make 82 cents to every dollar that men make. That's on average. And that's just, in general. When we start talking about Black women make on average 79 cents to every dollar that a white man makes, okay? And let's put that in perspective. Let's put that in real numbers, because we're talking about cents. We're talking about pennies, right? You're like, oh, it's 79 cents, not a huge deal. But when you start multiplying that out by tens of thousands of dollars, it becomes a huge difference. And it really impacts the way that we can show up for our families and the way that we can build wealth and financial freedom for ourselves, okay? So here's an example. Let's say that a white man makes $50,000, right? And women on average are making 82 cents for every dollar that person makes. That means that man is making 50,000 and insert generic woman is making $41,000. So he's making 50, she's making 41,000. All right. And then let's insert a black woman. Let's insert a sister into this, right? She is making $39,500, right, to his 50. You see that gap? That's a huge gap. And one of the things that you can do, that you can control to help close that gap, is to be proactive and to be an advocate for yourself when it comes to negotiating your salary and compensation. So that's reason number one why I want you to make sure you are negotiating your compensation. All right. Reason number two, recruiters expect you to negotiate. This is how the game is played, guys. Like, this is what's supposed to happen. And most recruiters have a range, right? They have a range that they can accept. Recruiters and hiring managers, they have a range or a budget that they can accept because they basically budgeted for this position. And of course, their goal is to maximize that budget. So they're not going to come into the conversation with the high end of the budget. They're going to come into the conversation with the low end and hope that you take it, right? Because if you do that, you are maximizing the budget. That's just like you going car shopping, right? Let's say that you can afford a car that's let's say you can afford a car that's, $20,000. You're not going into that conversation thinking, let me spend every penny of this $20,000. You're thinking, let me get the best car that I can for the lowest price. So I am going to be looking for a car and hoping to get a car that's 18 so I can save 2. Recruiters are thinking the same way. I've got $100,000 to hire a project manager. My goal is to get the best possible project manager at the least possible cost so I can maintain and manage this budget. Recruiters are coming up into this conversation at probably the lower or the middle end of their range, right? And oftentimes they're basing that on what you've said your salary requirements are, or what you've shared that you got paid at your previous employer. But just know this, recruiters are not surprised when you send an email saying, I'd like to counter your offer with this. They're not surprised, they're not shocked. I promise you, they are expecting you to negotiate. So don't feel like you're being extra, don't feel like you are being outside of the norm. It is part of the process. A lot of people negotiate their salaries and recruiters actually expect it. So do it. Reason number 3 why you should negotiate your salary is, I believe that you should have the job that you want under the terms that you want. One of the mindset shifts that I would love to see in the labor market from potential candidates and job seekers is a mindset shift from begging for a job to seeking an opportunity that's a good fit for them. And a lot of times we go into our job search, we go into these interviews, we go into these job offers, we go into these negotiations from a standpoint of someone gave me something, right? And so I should take it. I should be grateful. I should take it, right? And I want you to understand that you are in a power position, right? You are not in a position of someone's giving you a handout. You had a meeting, you had an interview, you had a conversation where you and this company decided you were a fit. You had something to bring to the table as well. It's not like they're doing you a favor or giving you a handout, right? And so if this company is a good fit for you, if you've interviewed this company just like they interview you, and you've decided this company is a good fit, and this position is a good fit for you, then the terms should also be a good fit. And they should align with your goals for your life. If your goals are to increase your income, if your goals are to have more flexibility, if your goals are to make sure you have healthcare coverage because you have a family or you're expecting a family, the terms of this agreement should meet your goals. You deserve to have the job you want under terms that align with what you want. Okay? So the third reason is because you deserve it. Reason number 4 that I want you to always negotiate your compensation is I want you to get used to advocating for yourself. Here's the truth. Your career is yours to manage, no one else's. Your boss, your mentor, your supervisor, HR, it is no one else's job to manage your career trajectory from a standpoint of improving your skills, developing you, giving you raises, giving you promotions, and setting you up with the right compensation. It's not their job to do that. It is yours. So you need to start the process out advocating for yourself and making sure that you are looking out for your best interests. And I want this to permeate throughout multiple areas of your life, but I want this to be one of the places where you practice advocating for yourself. Your life is yours. Your career is yours. Your compensation and all of these are decisions that you will make for you. And so use this as an opportunity to get comfortable advocating for yourself, because you'll have to do it again down the road, right? You'll have to do it again when you want to be put on a certain project, or you want a certain mentor, or you want to be transferred to a different department, or you want more flexibility, or you're having a problem in the workplace that you want someone to address. There will be times where you've got to advocate for yourself. And so let this be one of the opportunities that you use to practice advocating for yourself. Okay? All right, so we talked about some reasons why you should negotiate. And I want to take this opportunity to just remind you that there is an entire module about how to negotiate job offers in my course, the Remote Ready Bundle. The course is super short. You can get it done in a weekend. It's a few videos, some guides, and the videos are short. I made them short on purpose so that you can get through them quickly. But there's a whole section that talks about how to negotiate your salary and compensation. And we even walk through all of the things that you can negotiate besides those. You can check out the course in the link below in the description box. This is also a conversation we have quite regularly in the Quick Commuting Academy as well, and you can join free for 14 days. Again, that information is in the description box. So now that I've shared with you the reasons that you should negotiate, I want to address some of the reasons you don't. Let's talk a little bit about why you don't negotiate, because I know some people are afraid to negotiate their salary. So let's address it head on. Let's talk about all of the things that you are afraid of. And if I leave anything out, do me a favor, drop it in the comments so we can continue to talk about it. I'll be happy to communicate with you guys in the comments. I'll reply to you in the comments, or I'll create a whole nother video just talking about how to address the things that you're afraid of when it comes to negotiating. But I'm gonna hit 3 of them right now. One of them is this feeling that you should be grateful. And I talked about this before, right? A lot of people are like, well, you know, they gave me my offer and I'm just grateful to have a job. And I feel like if I negotiate or tell them that I want something else, then I'm being ungrateful. I'm showing that I'm not grateful for the offer. Let me say this. You don't owe nobody gratitude. You don't owe nobody gratitude. They're not doing you a favor. They are asking you to work. These companies are asking you to trade hours of your life for them, right? To help them reach goals. You're not doing them a favor. This is not about gratitude at all. First of all, 2 things can be true. You can be grateful and you can want more at the same time. That's possible. Other thing is, again, this is not a handout, right? They didn't pick you up off the streets and say, hey, we're gonna give you a job, right? You guys came together and decided that you were a good fit. They had a need and you had the skill set to fill it, right? They should be grateful to have you as well. So I don't want you to get caught up in this, it looks like I'm ungrateful if I negotiate my salary, all right? You can be grateful and want more at the same time. And also, what they are offering you is not a handout. What they are offering you or attempting to offer you is fair compensation for the skills, experience, and uniqueness that comes along with you. They are attempting to provide fair compensation for those things. And if you don't agree that that compensation is fair, then you should help them get there, okay? The other thing that people are afraid of is, what if they say no? And my response is always, okay, what if they say no? Like, what is the bad thing that's gonna happen if they say no? Break that down for me. Like, what will happen if they say no? Is the sky gonna fall apart? Have you heard the word no before in your life? You made it through that, right? You survived. I know you did because you're watching this video. Say it with me. You ready? No. Nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. It is okay to be told no. It is absolutely okay to be told no. Here's the other thing I want you to know. My good friend Deetra Giles of ExecuPrep says there's a whole lot between yes and no, right? There is a whole lot in between yes and no, and people are so afraid of no that they don't allow the space between yes and no. They don't allow for the other opportunities between yes and no. Also, no might not mean no indefinitely. It might mean no, not right now. But if they say no, it also presents you with an opportunity to make a decision and a choice for yourself. Is this truly an opportunity that I want to pursue? Does it align with the goals that I have for myself, right? We're going to go back to you advocating and go back to you having the job that you want with the terms that you want, okay? So if they're not able to meet your quote unquote demands, then you've got to make a decision. Is this a position that I want? Or can I pivot and try to negotiate something else? Or can we talk about bringing this back up in the future, right? So those are some opportunities that you can take. But don't be afraid of no. For one, no won't kill you. I promise you, it will not kill you. Also, there's a whole lot between yes and no. And so don't be afraid to land in this space between yes and no as well. There's another one I hear quite often that keep people from wanting to negotiate. And that is, what if they rescind the offer? Now that's scary. Don't get me wrong. Like I totally get that, right? Here's the thing. One, it's very rare. It is very, very rare that a hiring manager or a recruiter would rescind an offer. If they rescind the offer, more often than not, it is because something didn't match up with your background check, right? Either your criminal background check came back with a little something, maybe you had some bodies on you, I don't know. The credit check came back, a little rocky, and it was outside of the parameters that they like to shoot for, or your references didn't check out, or something happened when they were doing your basic overall background check. That is typically why an offer would be rescinded. The second thing I'd say is, if an offer is rescinded because you negotiated, you don't want to work there. I like to think of this negotiation point as the very first test of you advocating for yourself at this company. Throughout your career, you're going to have to advocate for yourself over and over again, because as I mentioned earlier, your career is yours to manage, okay? And so if a company penalizes you the very first time you advocated for yourself, they have shown you that they are not the company that you want to work for. This worked out, right? So if anything, this is a great test to see how they handle you advocating for yourself. Because if they're going to penalize you for advocating for yourself on the salary negotiations, imagine how they would treat you when you need to advocate for yourself because you're in a hostile working environment and you need to move to a different team or you need a new manager, right? Imagine how they are going to treat you when you advocate for yourself because you want a raise or you want a promotion or you want to be put on a better project, right? Or you want to be in a better position, or you want to, adjust your work schedule to take care of your family, whatever the case may be. If they can't handle you advocating for yourself up front, they won't be able to handle you advocating for yourself later on. And so this is a company you don't want to work for. So I don't want you to be afraid of negotiating because you think they might rescind an offer. If anything, I'd love to see if they do, because that tells me this was not the opportunity for me. So don't let that be the thing that keeps you. Okay, I feel like I preached enough. Hopefully this video was helpful, and hopefully you feel more confident in negotiating job offers. I hope you leave this video feeling like I am absolutely always going to negotiate my compensation. Again, there's some resources in the description box below. I hope you take advantage of those. But also, please like and comment on this video. Let me know in the comments, what are you afraid of with negotiating? What has kept you from negotiating? And if you are a person that negotiates, drop your story in the comments and give people some encouragement, all right? I will see y'all in the next video.